By Wednesday morning, my granddaughter's summer art program had locked me out of her life. The electronic latch gave one flat beep, then stayed red. The metal handle felt cold enough to sting my palm. I stood in the vestibule with Sophie's blue craft box pressed against my ribs while the sharp smell of floor wax and lemon disinfectant filled my nose. "I'm sorry, Mr. Lawson," the receptionist said through the glass. "You're no longer on the authorized pickup list." "I'm not here to take her anywhere," I said. "She left this at my house." A child laughed somewhere down the hall. Then I heard Sophie's voice. "Grandpa?" My fingers tightened around the plastic box. A pair of scissors and 3 paintbrushes rattled inside. The receptionist lowered her voice. "There's a family filing under review. Your name is attached to a contact restriction request. I can't discuss the child's records with you." "I understand." The words scraped on the way out. "May I have a copy of your pickup policy?" She slid 2 pages under the glass. I wrote down the time on the back with the pen chained to her counter. 10:14 in the morning. My name is Dean Lawson. I was 58 years old, owner of Lawson Property Care, and until that moment, I had spent most of my adult life believing that if I kept enough doors repaired, enough bills paid, and enough mistakes covered, my family would always leave one door open for me. The Sunday before, every door in my house still knew Tyler's code. Father's Day dinner began at 4 in the afternoon. I had smoked 2 racks of ribs. Emily brought potato salad, and Sophie arrived with a purple backpack she refused to set down. "It's heavy, sweetheart," I told her as she squeezed past me in the kitchen. "I've got it," Sophie said. The straps dug into her shoulders. Something hard knocked against her hip when she moved. Emily reached for the bag, then stopped when Tyler entered behind them. "Leave it," my son said. His voice was light, almost playful. "She wants to be responsible." Tyler was 34, broad-shouldered, neatly dressed, and wearing the watch I had given him after his first year at the company. He kissed the air beside my cheek, then walked straight into the dining room. Within a minute, he had set out 2 phones. His company phone sat upright on the bookcase, angled toward my chair. His personal phone rested against a water pitcher at the other end of the table. "You filming dinner?" I asked. Tyler adjusted the pitcher by half an inch. Sophie said she wanted Grandpa's Father's Day speech preserved for history. "I didn't say that," Sophie called from the hallway. Tyler smiled without looking at her. "Kids forget what they say." Emily carried the potato salad past us. Her perfume smelled faintly of orange peel, but underneath it was the dry paper smell of a car left full of folders. She kept one hand on Sophie's backpack. I had planned to speak with Tyler privately about 2 customer invoices that listed the wrong payment account. Both came from clients he managed. Both used our logo. Neither routed money to Lawson Property Care. But Tyler changed the seating chart before we ate. He placed himself directly across from me and moved my chair 6 inches to the left. "Better light," he said. "For dinner?" "For honesty." That word stayed between us while plates passed and forks clicked. Emily barely touched her food. Sophie kept glancing toward the backpack by her feet. Tyler waited until everyone had a drink, then stood and tapped his fork against his glass. The sound was thin and bright. "Since it's Father's Day," he began, "I thought we should say something real for once." A cousin near the window gave an uncertain laugh. Nobody joined him. Tyler raised his glass toward me. "My father likes to call control generosity. He gives you a car, then reminds you who owns it. He gives you a job, then watches every dollar. He gives you a key, then acts like the whole family should be grateful for permission to enter." Emily whispered. "Tyler, not here." He tilted his head toward the company phone. "Where else? Private conversations have a way of disappearing." I set down my fork. Tyler's smile sharpened. "So here's my Father's Day truth. I wish you'd never been my dad." The room went still, except for the hum of the refrigerator and the slow tick of grease cooling on the serving tray. He did not drink. He waited. His weight shifted toward the camera on the bookcase. The personal phone remained, pointed at my hands. I picked up my glass. "Wish granted," I said. Then I placed it on the table and walked away. Behind me, Tyler laughed once, too loud. "That's it?" he called. "You don't have one of your speeches about family loyalty?" I kept moving. The hallway runner scratched beneath my shoes. At the small desk outside my office, I opened the company administration app. 3 pending actions, waited where I had left them that morning. I had prepared them after the second customer called about an invoice. I had not approved them because it was Father's Day, and some foolish part of me still hoped a quiet talk would be enough. Not anymore. I confirmed the company card suspension, then the fleet vehicle recovery. Then I opened my smart lock account and removed Tyler's guest code from my house. A phone chimed in the dining room. Tyler stopped laughing. Another alert followed. Then a third. "What did you do?" he shouted. I locked my phone and stepped back into the hall. Outside, a diesel engine growled near the curb. The recovery truck had been waiting 2 streets over under an authorization tied to the vehicle review. Its amber lights flashed across my front windows. Tyler ran past me, shoulder clipping the wall. "My car," he said. "The company's car," I answered. He spun around and came close enough for me to smell bourbon and barbecue sauce on his breath. "You planned this." I prepared for it. His eyes flicked toward the bookcase phone. So did mine. Tyler moved closer. "Go ahead, Dad. Put your hands on me." I stepped back twice and held my palms open. "The cards belong to the company," I said. "The vehicle belongs to the company. This house belongs to me. This conversation is over." He followed me onto the porch as the truck operator secured the front wheel. Metal chains snapped tight. Sophie stood inside beside Emily, both of them framed by the open doorway. Tyler pointed at me. "You hear him? He thinks owning things means owning people." The truck pulled forward. Tyler ran through the gate after it. The front door swung shut behind him with a solid click. A minute later, he came back and punched his code into the keypad. Red light. He tried again. Red. The third attempt produced a longer warning tone. Tyler stared through the glass at me. "Open the door." "No. You're locking your own son out on Father's Day. You said you wished I'd never been your father. And this is my house." Emily touched Sophie's shoulder. The little girl flinched at the warning tone from the lock. I turned toward them. "You can both stay here tonight." Emily looked at me, then at Tyler outside. Her fingers closed around Sophie's hand. "We're leaving," she said. "Are you going with him?" She did not answer. Sophie picked up the purple backpack. The zipper was stretched tight, and a folded corner of a manila envelope showed through the gap. I could have stopped them, asked questions, taken the bag, called Emily into my office, and demanded an explanation. Instead, I opened the side door to the driveway. Emily guided Sophie to her car. Tyler was still at the front gate, shouting after the tow truck. He did not see them leave. I photographed the 2 phone positions before anyone moved them. The company phone was still on the bookcase, warm from recording. I placed it on my desk without opening a single file. By then, the ribs had gone cold. Melted ice had watered down every drink on the table. Guests slipped away without saying goodbye. My own phone buzzed. A message from Tyler filled the screen. "You just gave me everything I needed." I looked toward the corner where Sophie had kept her backpack. It was gone. The message stayed on my screen until the letters dimmed. Behind me, the refrigerator compressor kicked on, making the empty dining room sound larger. A fork slid off a plate and struck the hardwood with a bright clink. Nobody came back to pick it up. Tyler's company phone sat on my desk, still warm from recording. I did not touch the screen. Instead, I called Naomi Brooks. She answered on the second ring. "Dean, it's Sunday." "I know." That changed her voice. Naomi had handled our books for 14 years and could hear trouble between 2 words. "What happened?" she asked. "Tyler left his company phone at my house, put his account on legal hold, lock the active session, record the time, and preserve everything under the policy he signed." A pause followed. "Calculation, not hesitation." "Do not open it," Naomi said. "I haven't. Do not plug it into your computer. Secure it. I'll arrange sealed pickup for the technology service in the morning." My fingers rested beside the phone. "Make sure they create an exact image and a file hash." "They will." "Dean, why am I preserving your son's phone? Tyler called from another number before I could answer. I need to take this, I told Naomi. Keep your sentences short, she said. He may be recording. The line clicked over. Tyler skipped hello. You stole my phone. It belongs to Lawson Property Care. You took it out of my possession. You left it recording in my house. His breath scraped the microphone. Traffic rushed behind him, followed by a horn and a curse. Give it back tonight, Tyler said, or I report the theft. You can collect personal property after the company device is preserved. My personal life is on that phone. Then you should not have used it to record me. Silence. Brief. Tyler lowered his voice. Open the cards. Call off the truck. Put my code back on the house, and maybe this stays inside the family. The old answer rose automatically. Come over tomorrow. Calm down. We'll fix it. My hand moved toward the drawer where I kept spare keys. Then I looked at Sophie's empty corner. No, I said. Tyler laughed under his breath. Good. Keep talking like that. He hung up. Messages arrived before the screen went dark. My sister asked what I had done to force Tyler into public honesty. A cousin wrote that children did not reject parents without a reason. Someone forwarded a video. The clip lasted 47 seconds. It began with me raising my glass. Wish granted, the man on the screen said in my voice. The footage jumped to Tyler outside while the recovery truck pulled away. Another cut showed him entering his code. Red light. Then came my porch words. The cards belong to the company. The vehicle belongs to the company. This house belongs to me. Nothing before that. No toast. No, I wish you'd never been my dad. No invitation to put my hands on him. No second phone pointed at my chair. A caption sat beneath it. This is what financial abuse looks like when you finally say no. My thumb hovered over the reply box. 3 sentences could have changed the meaning. I had photographs of both phones. Guests had heard Tyler's toast. Company records would show whose property he had used. But Tyler had posted first because he wanted me angry, fast, and public. I saved the clip instead. Then I saved every version relatives sent, noting who sent it and when. One had been shortened again. It showed only Tyler outside my locked door while I stood behind the glass. My phone chimed. Now everyone knows who you are. I placed it face down. A voicemail from my brother followed. He did not ask what Tyler had said before the clip began. He only told me that a father should never humiliate his son over money. In the background, his television played the video again. I heard my own voice say, "Wish granted," through the tiny speaker, thinner each time, stripped of everything that had come before it. Near midnight, Naomi called back. The house had cooled, but barbecue smoke still clung to the curtains. I pulled the card activity tied to Tyler's employee account, she said. You need to see 3 charges. The laptop keys sounded too loud in the office. When the statement opened, I found 2 purchases from electronics stores and 1 monthly data charge. The first receipt listed a prepaid phone. The second listed another. The third item was a small location device with a magnetic mount. Was this entered into fleet inventory? I asked. No, Naomi said. Tyler called it an anti-theft unit. I asked for the serial number. He never submitted it. A cold cup of coffee sat near my elbow. I swallowed anyway. Bitter and metallic. How long ago? The first phone was bought 3 months ago. The tracker came 6 weeks later. The data plan has renewed twice. Preserve the receipts and statement. Already done. Naomi paused. He sent an email to the staff list. The secure inbox refreshed. Tyler's subject line read, "Personal family dispute affecting company operations." He claimed I had suspended his access, seized his assigned vehicle, frozen work expenses, and removed him from private property because he confronted me about controlling the family through money. No mention of the wrong payment account. No mention of the 2 customer invoices on my desk. At the bottom, Tyler asked employees to preserve messages showing I had made emotionally driven business decisions. Smart. He was building the same story in 2 places. What do you want me to tell the staff? Naomi asked. Nothing about dinner. Tell them his access is suspended. Pending review of customer billing and company assets. That will not stop the gossip. It is not supposed to. My phone vibrated again. This time the message came from Emily. We are safe. Do not call. Please. 4 words and a plea. My first impulse was to call. The next was worse. I could check vehicle records, ask someone to trace where Emily had gone, or contact every hotel she might choose. All of those choices would make me exactly what Tyler said I was. I typed one sentence. I will not look for your location. I am preserving company records. Tell Sophie I love her when it is safe. Delivered. No reply. By 7 Monday morning, Lawson Property Care sounded wrong. Phones rang and printers started, but conversations stopped whenever I crossed the office. Naomi met me with a sealed evidence bag containing Tyler's phone. The technology service will collect it at 9, she said. I documented when you handed it over. Good. 3 employees asked whether Tyler was fired. He is not. Suspend his access to customer accounts and payment systems. Limit the review to clients assigned to his team. Naomi studied me. Only his team? Until the records give us a reason to go wider. I called the staff together near the service board. Wet canvas jackets smelled of rain and cut grass. This is a business review, I said. Not a family vote. Tyler's access is suspended while we compare customer payments, company devices, and fleet use. Nobody is being asked to take sides. A technician near the back spoke. Did you repossess his car during dinner? The company recovered a company vehicle after a pending asset review was activated. He nodded, but his mouth stayed tight. Nobody looked relieved. One dispatcher stared at the floor, while another closed Tyler's email and opened it again. Their doubt did not need words. For years, I had let my son arrive late, miss reports, and explain away shortages because I believed family loyalty belonged behind closed doors. Now, the closed door was mine. By noon, Naomi had found the 2 invoices I had flagged. Same logo, same colors, same service descriptions, different routing number. Before we could trace it, Emily sent 6 photographed pages. The first carried a Franklin County Family Court heading. Tyler's name appeared above hers. Mine appeared 3 paragraphs down. I read only the pages she had chosen to send. Tyler claimed I had threatened him, used company property to punish him, locked him out of a residence, and helped Emily remove Sophie without warning. He asked the court to order Emily not to arrange contact between Sophie and me until a temporary hearing. My pen stopped over the page. The final paragraph described Sunday's recording as proof that I became dangerous when my authority was challenged. Tyler had not posted that clip to embarrass me. He had made it for a judge. An hour after I read Tyler's filing, I stood beside the empty space where his company SUV had been parked. Rainwater dripped from the edge of the service bay roof and struck a metal bucket with a hollow tap. The fleet lot smelled of wet asphalt, motor oil, and grass clippings trapped under mower decks. Naomi held a clipboard against her chest while the recovery report fluttered in the wind. The driver logged the pickup at 5:42 Sunday evening, she said. No damage. 1 laptop charger, 2 empty coffee cups, and a child's pink hair tie were left inside. Photograph everything before it's moved. Already done. My phone buzzed. Tyler had sent an email marked urgent. Delete personal location data from vehicle records. Below that, he wrote that any review of his off-duty travel would be an invasion of privacy and proof that I had been watching him for years. Naomi read over my shoulder. He knows we keep 12 months of telematics. He signed the policy. So did every manager. I handed her the phone. Limit the export to company hours, customer routes, fuel purchases, and stops tied to company transactions. Nothing else. Naomi lifted one eyebrow. That may leave gaps. Then we live with gaps. Inside the dispatch room, the printer spat out page after page. Route numbers, fuel stops, service addresses, timestamps. Tyler's explanation arrived before we finished sorting them. Every trip was business-related, he wrote. Any location not listed as a customer belonged to a vendor, a lunch stop, or a private matter outside company review. He had given us 3 categories, large enough to hide almost anything. I pulled the electronics receipts beside the route logs. One system recorded time in Eastern Daylight Time, another used Coordinated Universal Time. The fuel card showed only local transaction time. For 20 minutes, the pages refused to line up. Naomi watched me draw columns across a legal pad. You used to make me do that. You charged by the hour. I still do. The corner of my mouth moved, but the sound did not come. Once the times were converted, the pattern sharpened. On the day Tyler bought the first prepaid phone, the SUV left a client neighborhood and stopped at a commercial mailbox center for 11 minutes. 6 weeks later, after the tracker purchase, the same vehicle went from the electronics store to that mailbox, then to a storage facility on the west side. 3 days after that, the route repeated. Then again. That storage place isn't in our vendor list, Naomi said. Neither is the mailbox. A monthly charge on the company card matched the storage facility's billing name. Another recurring charge carried the name of a data service I did not recognize. Naomi tapped the page. Do you want me to call the storage manager? No. We don't know whose name is on the unit, and we have no right to ask what's inside. You think Tyler used company money? I know the card was charged. That's all I know. The distinction felt thin, but it mattered. Tyler had built his filing out of sentences that turned suspicion into fact. I would not answer him by doing the same. At 3:17, the receptionist transferred a customer named Harold Pike to my office. I'm done being passed around, Harold said. His voice rattled through the speaker. I paid your invoice. Then your office sent another one with a late fee. Please forward both emails to me. I already forwarded them to Tyler. He said accounting made a mistake. When was that? Last month. Then someone called and told me to use the updated payment instructions going forward. My chair creaked when I leaned back. Did the caller identify himself? Said he was with Lawson Property Care. Sounded young. Knew the work you did on my rental duplex. Harold sent the emails while we were still talking. At first glance, the invoices looked identical. Same blue roofline logo, same service description, same total. Then Naomi pointed to the company name. One read Lawson Property Care. The other read Lawson Property Services. A single word. The false invoice used a different routing number and a web address with one added letter. Its reply address led to a commercial mailbox. The same mailbox Tyler's SUV had visited after both device purchases. Harold's voice came through the speaker again. Mr. Lawson, where did my money go? I don't know yet, I said. But I will not ask you to pay twice. After the call, Naomi closed my office door. $2,860 from one customer is sloppy, she said. If it's more than one, it isn't sloppy. A chime sounded from my phone. Emily had sent a photograph with no message. The image showed the underside of a car near the rear wheel. A black device, no larger than a deck of cards, clung to the frame with a magnetic case. Road dust coated the edges. 4 digits of the serial number were visible beneath one corner. I enlarged the photograph. The first digits matched the receipt on my desk. Another picture arrived. This one showed a warning on Emily's phone. Unknown tracker detected moving with you. The alert listed several dates. My hand reached for the call button before I stopped it. Do not call, please. Her words from the night before remained above the photographs. I typed carefully. Can you photograph the full serial, where you found it, and the alert details? Do not reset it. You do not need to tell me where you are. 3 dots appeared, vanished, then returned. Tyler said it was for theft protection. I looked toward the fleet inventory binder. No tracker with that serial appeared anywhere. My reply took longer. The company has no record of assigning that device to your vehicle. Emily did not answer. Outside my office, a mower engine started and filled the building with a low mechanical growl. I stared at the black device on my screen until the question changed. It was no longer where Tyler had sent company money. It was who he had been trying to follow. By Wednesday morning, I had the blue craft box in my truck and the pickup policy folded in my pocket before I entered Sophie's summer art program. That was the morning the red light stopped me at the inner door. The receptionist did not show me family records. She did not explain Tyler's filing. She only confirmed that my name had been removed from the authorized pickup list through the parent portal before Father's Day. How long before? I asked. I can't release the account history to you, Mr. Lawson. I understand. Can Sophie's mother request it? If she is still listed as a parent with educational rights. Yes. Still listed. The phrase, caught. Was she removed? I did not say that. No. You didn't. I left the craft box and copied the posted summer pickup policy onto the paper she gave me. Through the locked door came the scrape of chair legs and children washing paintbrushes in metal cups. Sophie's voice rose above them for half a second, then disappeared. In my truck, I photographed the time printed on my visitor slip and sent Emily one message. The program confirmed my pickup access changed before Sunday. They would not release details to me. You may request the record as Sophie's parent. Her answer came 10 minutes later. I did not remove you. Nothing else. Back at the office, the contracted technology service had delivered its first preservation summary. The company phone remained sealed in their custody. They had not yet provided content, but the report listed file names, creation dates, and version activity found within the work profile. Most were ordinary. Customer schedules, estimate templates, a mileage report Tyler had never submitted. Then, one line stopped me. Emergency custody final. Created the Wednesday before Father's Day. 4 days before Tyler raised his glass. Naomi stood beside my desk. That's what he filed. It has the same name. And the date is before dinner. A file name is not proof of what was inside it. She looked at me. You think he renamed it? I think Tyler will say he did. The report showed version history had been preserved, but the service had not completed the extraction. Until I saw the original file, its contents, and whether they matched the court filing, the timestamp was only a door. Not what stood behind it. I drew a box around the line and wrote beneath it. The file name isn't proof. I need the original. Emily chose the far corner of a public library parking lot, where security cameras faced the rows of cars and nobody had a reason to linger. Leave your phone in the truck, she said when I stepped out. Her voice came through the open passenger window of her sedan. Traffic hissed along the wet road behind us. A grocery cart rolled loose near the curb and struck a concrete stop with a hollow clang. The afternoon smelled of hot pavement, old coffee, and rain drying on metal. I set my phone on the truck seat where she could see it. Keys, too, Emily said. I placed them beside the phone and closed the door. She watched my hands. Stand by the hood. I did. A year earlier, I would have argued. That afternoon, I kept my mouth shut. Emily got out carrying a silver pouch that crackled when she moved. Her hair was tied back, her face drawn from broken sleep. Sophie isn't here, she said. I didn't ask. You were going to. She was right. Emily placed the pouch on the hood. The tracker is inside. I photographed where I found it before I removed it. The warning on my phone said not to reset it, so I didn't. The bag felt cool beneath my fingertips. Through the metallic lining, I could make out the hard rectangle of the device. What time did you remove it? 8:12 this morning. I wrote the time on an evidence envelope from the office. Did anyone else handle it? No. Where was it attached? Under the rear passenger side, behind the wheel well. Her mouth tightened. The side where Sophie sits. Emily slid 3 printed photographs across the hood. One showed the device under the car, another the full serial number, and the third the warning on her phone with several tracking dates. You keep the originals, I said. I'll photograph these copies at the office, with Naomi present. That's fine. Every answer had a wall around it. I sealed the pouch, signed across the flap, and offered her the pen. Emily added her initials and the time. Only then did I ask, why did Sophie bring the backpack to dinner? Her eyes shifted toward the library entrance. You're not going to like that answer. I'm listening. That has never been the problem with Lawson men. A delivery truck changed gears on the main road. The engine growled, then faded. Emily folded her arms. The bag had 2 changes of clothes. Sophie's inhaler, her school tablet, chargers, toiletries, and copies of her birth certificate and insurance card. I had cash in an envelope and a receipt for a furnished place on the north side. Before Father's Day. When did you reserve it? I asked. Thursday night. Did I know? No. Did anyone at my company know? No. She looked directly at me. You didn't help me leave. You just happened to own the house where Tyler wanted to make a scene. Sophie had carried the first week of a new life past my dining table, while I worried about potato salad and 2 invoices. Why use my house? I asked. Because Tyler performs when people are watching. I thought he would be busy being the charming son. Sophie and I could leave before he noticed the papers were gone. What papers? Copies, bank statements, messages, the lease receipt. Her fingers rubbed the edge of one photograph until the paper curled. 2 days before dinner, Emily continued, I found the document envelope moved in my car. It had been under the spare tire. The flap was tucked the wrong way. You knew he found it. I knew somebody had. But you still came. I moved the originals. I kept the backpack with Sophie because Tyler wouldn't search her in front of everyone. That explained the straps digging into Sophie's shoulders, but not why Tyler let them drive away. Did he say anything about the backpack? I asked. He told Sophie to carry it inside herself. Said the cameras should catch her being responsible. The phones. The chair moved toward the light. Tyler watching the bookcase instead of drinking. He wanted the bag visible, I said. So, he could say leaving was planned. It was planned. Not by me. No. But he needed it to look like you were part of it. Why didn't he stop you from leaving? Emily's gaze dropped to the hood. Because he thought he knew where I would go. The tracker. He let you drive away, I said. Because he expected that device to lead him back to you. And while I was gone, he had a video of your reaction, Sophie's packed bag, and a story about us planning it together. There it was. The toast had not been the beginning. My son had built a trap around a decision Emily made days earlier, then waited for me to supply the angry father he needed. Emily gave a small, humorless breath. You want to know the worst part? I waited. He knew what you would do, because you always use the same tools. Money, access, property. You cut them off when he pushed hard enough, and he had both cameras ready. I had already flagged the cards and vehicle, I said. I know. Customer money may have been redirected. I believe you. But you think I helped him. I think you kept removing the floor every time he was supposed to fall. A car door slammed across the lot. Emily's voice stayed level. He missed rent once, you paid it. He ran up cards, you refinanced the debt. He lost a job, you gave him one. Every time I told him we couldn't keep living that way, Tyler said his father would fix it. Sophie needed stability. Laura had been sick. Tyler always promised the next rescue would be the last. None of it changed what Emily had lived with. What do you need from me now? I asked. Do not come looking for us. I won't. Do not contact Sophie. My jaw moved before words came. For how long? Until I know contact won't be used against her or me. I nodded once. Emily reached into her car and brought out a folder. I requested the school records as Sophie's mother. Tyler changed the pickup list weeks ago. He changed notification settings too. Some requests came from the family account Emily had once used, but the login history identified a device and times. One change was entered, while Tyler's company SUV sat at the commercial mailbox. He didn't remove you as Sophie's mother, I said. He couldn't do that through a portal. He made himself the first call for everything. Then he told the school I was unreliable. I marked dates, not conclusions. May I keep copies of the pages tied to pickup and notifications? Yes, nothing else. Then I made the mistake I had been trained by 40 years of fatherhood to make. How much do you need? Emily's face did not change. That was worse than anger. I have a job, she said. I have savings. For a furnished place, food, a custody case, and childcare. There it is. What? The part where your money becomes the reason your plan should be followed. I didn't give you a plan. You were about to. Emily picked up her folder. Every check you wrote for Tyler gave him another reason to say I lived off loss in money. I am not taking cash from you so he can tell a court I traded one man's control for another's. Then tell me what help does not put me in charge. Keep the company records. Preserve what belongs to your business. Do not reveal where I am, even if you find out. And do not use Sophie to make Tyler answer you. That's all? That is not small. No, it was not. Emily drove away. I waited until her car disappeared before opening my truck. My phone showed one voicemail from Tyler. His tone was calm, almost friendly. Dad, this doesn't have to get uglier. Turn my cards back on. Release the SUV. Fix the school misunderstanding. And I'll make sure you get time with Sophie. We can say, Sunday got out of hand. A picture followed. The first page of his emergency motion carried a court date in the 3rd week. I saved the original voicemail and its timestamp. Then I sent one sentence. Sophie is not a condition of trade. Tyler replied before I started the engine. Then you can explain to the court why you chose a truck and a credit card over your granddaughter. The next morning, Naomi laid 2 invoices side by side beneath the desk lamp and tapped the routing numbers with the capped end of a pen. One sends money to us, she said. The other sends it somewhere else. Fresh paper slid from the printer, warm with toner. The false invoice cut the pad of my thumb. A red line appeared. The copied logo was good. The service description matched our wording. Even the invoice number fit the sequence Tyler's team used. Only the web address was wrong. The second version added 1 letter, the kind of change a tired customer would miss. Can the payment processor tell us who owns the receiving account? I asked. Not because we call and sound concerned, Naomi said. We need the original emails, transaction references, and a formal preservation request. After that, records come through the proper channel. I wrapped a tissue around my thumb. Then we billed it without guessing. We collected Harold Pike's emails and another false invoice from Tyler's client group. Message headers showed both had been created from a template copied out of our billing system. The sender address led to the lookalike domain. Its contact page listed a commercial mailbox instead of an office. Same address as the stop in Tyler's vehicle log. Naomi leaned closer to the screen. That is not a coincidence. It is a connection, I said. Not yet an explanation. She gave me a flat look. You have become very careful with nouns. My son filed papers calling my assumptions facts. That ended the joke. A public business search found Lawson Property Services, LLC, formed 10 months earlier. A registration service hid the organizer's name. The filing showed only the mailbox, a generic email, and a contact number. I copied the last 4 digits onto my legal pad. They matched one of the prepaid phones purchased with Tyler's company card. That morning, his company SUV stopped at the mailbox center for 11 minutes. Naomi turned a page in the fleet report. He told us that stop was lunch. He may have eaten there. With a mailbox? I kept reading. The LLC did not prove Tyler had stolen money. A side business was not illegal by itself. Yet its phone had been bought by Lawson Property Care, its mailbox visited in our vehicle, and its invoices copied from our system. Each fact stood on its own. Together, they leaned in the same direction. My office phone rang before noon. A woman named Marjorie Bell introduced herself, then skipped every courtesy after that. I paid in February, she said. Yesterday your office told me the balance is still open. I have the bank confirmation in my hand. Please send the confirmation and the email that gave you payment instructions, I said. I already sent everything to your son. He told me your accounting department lost the record. Naomi stopped writing. What address sent the instructions? I asked. Marjorie read it aloud. The lookalike domain. How much did you pay? $6,400, and I am not paying it twice. You will not, I said. Can you guarantee that? Mower blades chopped through wet grass outside while I studied our operating reserve. I can guarantee we will not collect the same bill twice, I said. If our controls failed, we will make the customer whole. After the call, Naomi shut the door. That is the second confirmed payment, she said. Second customer, willing to send records. You know what I mean. We count only what we can support. By late afternoon, 7 more accounts showed the same pattern. Some had paid the false invoice. Others received altered instructions after calling Tyler's team. One payment exceeded $20,000. Naomi ran a preliminary report based on Tyler's client group and the 10 months since the LLC opened. The estimate stopped at $286,000. Not final. Not yet. Naomi opened the aging report beside it. 3 projects had already received the false instructions, so the estimate could climb. Payroll was due Friday, with vendor drafts following Monday. Can we stop every outgoing payment? I asked. Not without missing payroll or breaching supplier agreements, Naomi said. We can hold owner distributions, delay equipment purchases, and move reimbursements ahead of expansion work. Do it. That canceled the service truck planned for July and ensured the crews would hear about the shortage before they trusted my explanation. Still, my office seemed to shrink around it. Our operating reserve is $360,000, Naomi said. If this range holds and we reimburse before recovery, payroll gets tight fast. We freeze non-essential spending. That buys time. I have taxable savings outside my retirement accounts. Her eyes moved from the screen to me. Do not promise personal money before the review is complete. I am not promising it. I am making sure the option exists. The contracted technology service confirmed the phone image was preserved. Its work profile contained an activation message tied to the serial Emily photographed beneath her car. Naomi read the report aloud. Application installed 6 weeks after the first prepaid phone purchase. Activation email received on the company device. Recovery message sent to the prepaid number. Is there location history? Not in the records we have, and we are not asking the service provider without process. Good. She looked at me. Good. Good that we know where the line is. I sent Emily a message through the channel we had agreed to use. The serial on the device you found matches a purchase on Tyler's company card. The company phone image contains the activation email and application record. We do not have provider location history, and I will not try to obtain it outside proper process. Her reply included the safety alert, its date, time, and the same identifier. That was enough to connect the object under her car to a device activated through Tyler's work phone. It did not tell me every place he had followed her. It did not need to. Nobody hides an anti-theft tracker from fleet inventory, activates it through an unregistered phone, and attaches it beneath his wife's car by accident. Hot paper curled against my palm. The money and tracker no longer looked separate. The secret income had paid for the tools that kept Emily watched. At 4:30, Naomi and 2 senior managers joined me in the conference room. The air conditioner hissed overhead. A formal review notice waited in front of me. It covered Tyler's client accounts, billing templates, company cards, fleet records, the lookalike domain, device purchases, mailbox charges, storage payments, and reimbursements. One section remained blank, approvals by ownership. Naomi placed her finger beside it. You do not have to include every decision you made as his father. I made those decisions as owner. You wrote casual approvals. You covered exceptions. That does not mean you authorized theft. It may mean I made it easier to hide. If your approvals enter scope, Naomi said, you may lose sole sign-off on related payments while this runs. Then put my approvals in scope. She did not move. Naomi, say it plainly. I picked up the pen. Review my signatures, my emails, and every exception I approved for Tyler. Suspend my authority over transactions tied to his group until another manager verifies them. The pen scratched across the page. Done. By 5, staff had the notice. Customer records were locked, payment instructions frozen, and refund calls routed through Naomi's team. Then every computer in the office chimed at once. A company-wide email from Tyler filled the screens. Subject line: the side business Dean Lawson approved. He claimed Lawson Property Services had been created to handle overflow work and special customers outside our regular scheduling system. According to Tyler, I had known about it, encouraged him to handle things independently, and turned against him only after the Father's Day toast. An attachment sat at the bottom. It was an email from me, written 8 months earlier after Tyler complained that our billing staff was slowing down a difficult account. Handle it however you need. Just keep the client happy. Office doors opened, chairs rolled, low voices crossed the hallway. A mechanic turned his monitor toward the man beside him. Tyler had given every employee one question. Had I approved the side company, then punished my son after the family argument went public? The date was real. So was my signature. Naomi printed the email thread and set it in front of me. The single sentence Tyler had attached looked broad enough to cover almost anything. The messages above and below it were missing. My son had not only hidden behind the permission I gave him, he had saved it for the day I stopped protecting him. The missing part of my email sat 3 lines above the sentence Tyler had sent to everyone. Handle it however you need. Just keep the client happy. Above that, Naomi had written, Tyler has requested another billing exception without supporting documents. This is the 3rd one this quarter. I recommend approval be withheld until he provides the customer agreement and payment trail. Below it, I had replied, Sophie has been sick all week, and Tyler says he is handling childcare. I will review it later. I never did. Paper rasped beneath my fingers as Naomi turned another page. Dust from the archive box hung in the late afternoon light, dry enough to taste. There are 2 more, she said. The first warning involved a fuel card Tyler used on a weekend trip. The second involved a vendor refund he redirected to his own client budget. Each time, I had approved the exception after Tyler mentioned Sophie, rent, or some emergency at home. None of those emails authorized Lawson Property Services. None permitted him to copy our invoices or send customers to another account. But they showed something else. I had trained my staff to stop asking questions when my son brought family into the room. Naomi set the full thread beside Tyler's single page. Do you want me to send this to everyone? No. Her eyebrows rose. Not yet, I said. First, preserve the original thread, headers, attachments, and approvals. Then add every exception I signed for Tyler to the review. That includes your decisions. Yes, you may not like the pattern. I already don't. The office had emptied, leaving only the hum of the vending machine and the occasional knock from pipes cooling in the walls. Tyler's old desk remained visible through the glass, one drawer hanging open. A coffee mug with Best Dad printed on it sat beside his monitor. I had bought it for him when Sophie was born. My phone buzzed with Emily's name. We had agreed that calls would happen only if she initiated them. I answered before the second vibration. Is Sophie all right? She's asleep, Emily said. I'm calling about the email Tyler sent. Her voice was low, with a faucet running somewhere behind her. I found the full thread, I said. It does not authorize the LLC. That isn't the part that matters to him. What part does? Emily was quiet long enough for the water to stop. Then, she read from an old message. Dad always cleans it up. You're the only one who pays. The words sounded different in her voice. When did he send that? I asked. Last fall, after you paid the credit cards he hid from me. I paid them because the interest was eating him alive. You paid them before I could decide whether I was willing to stay married to someone who lied about $28,000. The number landed harder than the accusation. What else did I erase? I asked. Emily did not answer right away. A cabinet closed softly. You covered 3 months of mortgage payments when he stopped going to his last job, she said. Then you hired him. When he wrecked my car, you replaced it before the insurance questions were finished. When he took money from our joint savings, you called it a misunderstanding and put the amount back. I remembered each rescue as a separate emergency. Hearing them in one line changed their shape. What did that cost you? I asked. My choices. 2 words. Nothing more. My hand rested on the desk near the unsigned review notice. Emily continued. Every time I tried to say the situation was unstable, Tyler pointed to the house, the car, the bills, and said everything was fine. It looked fine because you kept paying for the evidence to disappear. The vending machine compressor clicked off. Silence pressed into the office. I won't say I was only trying to help, I told her. Good. What kind of help would not put me in charge? For now, keep records. Do not send money. Do not contact Sophie. And when you speak about Tyler, do not make me the reason you finally noticed him. That last sentence stayed after the call ended. The next morning, Emily forwarded a temporary order entered before the expedited hearing. Tyler and Emily were the parties. My name appeared only in the contact provision. Until the hearing, neither parent was to arrange direct contact between Sophie and me. I read the paragraph twice. There was no ruling that I was dangerous, no final custody decision. The court had seen a clipped video, Tyler's sworn account, and the fact that Emily had left with Sophie. It had chosen distance until both sides could be heard. Still, the result was the same at my end. No calls, no visits, no craft box handed through a door. Naomi found me staring at the printed order. "You are not a party," she said. "I know. You can provide business records and a sworn statement. Emily decides what she files. I know that too. Then stop reading it. Like you can solve it by finding the right sentence." I folded the pages carefully. I have spent 40 years solving things with the right sentence, the right check, or the right key. And how is that working? I almost told her to leave. Instead, I handed her the storage records. The monthly charge came from the Shadow LLC. Tyler's vehicle had visited the facility repeatedly, and 3 tagged company tools remained unreturned from his team. That was enough for a preservation notice. Nothing more. "We do not call the manager and ask what is inside," I said. Naomi nodded. "We preserve rental records, access logs, and camera footage if they have it. List the missing assets by tag. No claims about family property." Emily had told me that copies of insurance papers, school documents, and several boxes of Sophie's things had disappeared before Father's Day. I added her statement to my notes, marked as unverified, and kept it separate from the company inventory. A locked storage unit invited imagination. Imagination was not evidence. That afternoon, I opened my personal banking app. Emily's furnished rental, childcare, food, and the coming court process would eat through savings quickly. I entered a transfer large enough to cover 6 months and typed her name into the memo line. My finger hovered over the confirmation button. Then her words returned. "Your money becomes the reason your plan should be followed." I canceled the transfer. The confirmation screen vanished, leaving my balance unchanged and my old method exposed. I called Emily through the approved channel. "I almost sent you money." "Almost?" I canceled it. A breath moved across the line. "I am considering an independent trust for Sophie," I said. "Education, medical needs, and reasonable housing support. A corporate trustee would control distributions. I would not be able to withdraw the money, choose where you live, or tie it to contact. And Tyler? No access. And me? You could request support for Sophie, but you would not own the fund." Emily's voice stayed cautious. "Who can cancel it?" "No one in the family if it is set up the way I am considering. Then I will read the terms. I am not agreeing to anything else. That is enough." After the call, I drafted the first outline for the trust and placed it beside the court order. One document kept me away from Sophie. The other would protect her without buying my way back. By evening, the office smelled of paper dust and cold coffee. Naomi had assembled the records for my sworn statement. Full email threads, bank transfers, credit card payments, mortgage checks, hiring approvals, the warnings I overruled. The draft began with Tyler's use of company property. It ended with my own conduct. I read the last page aloud. I approved repeated exceptions for my son without the review required of other managers. I paid personal debts that concealed the extent of his financial instability. I failed to act on warnings because I believed preserving family stability justified special treatment. The pen pressed a dent into my middle finger. Signing would give Tyler a paragraph he could use against me. It could cost me authority inside the company and whatever remained of my reputation as the man who kept Lawson Property Care clean. Leaving it out would make every other page weaker. I turned to the signature line. For the first time, telling the truth about my son required telling the truth about his father. The pen hovered above the signature line. I had not signed yet. For several seconds, all I could hear was the scratch of the office vent and the soft rattle of the blinds against the window frame. Then I signed. The ink looked too dark. Dean Lawson. Below it, I wrote the date and time, then initialed each page that named a decision I wished I could take back. Mortgage checks, credit card payments, hiring exceptions, warnings from Naomi that I had buried under the word family. When I finished, my middle finger carried a red groove from the pen. Naomi stood across the desk with both hands resting on the closed evidence box. "You understand this can be used against you," she said. "It should be. That is not the answer most owners give. It is the answer this owner should have given years ago." She checked the signature, added her receipt time, and slid the original into a document sleeve. The plastic made a dry crackle as she sealed it. Our contracted technology service delivered the forensic report through the secure portal. Naomi verified the device number, the time the phone had been sealed, the transfer receipt, the image hash, and the name of the system account used to create the copy. I did not open the image. I signed the release that allowed the preserved work records to enter the company review and the family proceeding if properly requested. Next came my approval rights. Naomi turned her monitor so I could see the settings page. "Once I remove you from Tyler's client group, every payment, refund, or record change tied to those accounts needs a second manager. For how long? Until the review closes or the control committee restores you." "Do it," I said. She clicked the confirmation box. A small message appeared. "Access changed successfully." That was all. No thunder, no alarm. Just one line on a screen telling me I could no longer fix a mistake with my own signature. Naomi opened the cash report. "We have $360,000 in operating reserve. The current estimate is $286,000 diverted, plus audit costs, customer reimbursements, and payroll. How long before the reserve gets dangerous? If recovery is slow? Weeks. I have taxable savings outside my IRA. I know. Set a ceiling of $120,000 as a bridge, only if the company needs it for payroll or verified customer refunds." Naomi's jaw tightened. "That delays your retirement. I already delayed it every time I cleaned up after Tyler. This time, you are cleaning up after yourself too." "Yes," I said. "Put it in writing." By noon, the bridge authorization was signed. My retirement accounts remained untouched, but the money market balance I had planned to live on after stepping back from daily operations no longer felt like mine. It had become a wall between 28 employees and a missed paycheck. The next document hurt differently. A corporate trustee had sent the final trust terms for Sophie. $180,000 would leave my taxable brokerage account and enter an irrevocable fund. The trustee, not me, would decide distributions for Sophie's education, medical care, and reasonable housing needs. I could not cancel it. Tyler could not borrow against it. Emily could request help for Sophie, but she could not empty the account or trade access for cash. My name would stay on the funding page and disappear from the control page. The confirmation screen waited. Transfer amount, $180,000. I pictured Sophie at my kitchen table, twisting the loose latch on her blue craft box while I promised to fix it after dinner. I pressed confirm. A spinning circle appeared, followed by a receipt number. Money moved faster than trust. Emily called through the agreed channel that afternoon. "I read the terms," she said. "And? The trustee controls distributions." "Yes. You cannot change where I live." "No. You cannot stop support because I keep Sophie away from you." "No. What do you get?" The question made my throat tighten around nothing. Nothing guaranteed. Silence held for 3 breaths. Emily spoke more softly. "That is the first useful answer you have given me." I looked at the court order beside my keyboard. "I will stay off direct contact until the hearing. Updates only through this channel. No calls to Sophie. She asked why you left the craft box." "What did you tell her?" "That adults are sorting out rules." "Tell her I did not forget her," I said. "I will tell her when it does not make her responsible for your feelings." The line stayed quiet. "You are right," I said. Emily exhaled. "I will send health or school updates, nothing about our location. That is enough." After she hung up, I sat with the empty sound of the office. A mower started outside. Someone laughed in the service bay. Life kept moving around the place where Sophie's voice should have been. Tyler arrived just before 5. He waited beside my truck in the employee lot, hands in his pockets, shoulders loose. The asphalt still held the day's heat. A delivery van backed toward the loading door, its warning beeper cutting the silence into even pieces. "You moved money," Tyler said. I stopped 6 feet away. "You are not authorized to be in the operations area. This is a parking lot. It belongs to the company." His mouth bent. "Everything belongs to you until you want to pretend it does not." I kept my keys in my pocket. Tyler stepped closer. "A trust. That is clever. You found a way to buy Sophie while telling everyone you gave up control. The trustee controls the money. You funded it. For Sophie. For your image." Tyler lowered his voice. "You are going to burn down Lawson Property Care to prove I embarrassed you at dinner. The review covers customer payments, company devices, vehicle use, and my approvals." His eyes narrowed when I said devices. "Did Naomi give the outside service full access?" "I will not discuss preserved records with you in a parking lot." "So they have the draft." There it was. I had not named a draft. Tyler glanced toward the loading door. "You know what I mean. Every manager keeps templates. Then, you can explain yours through the proper process." He moved close enough that the toe of his shoe nearly touched mine. "If this company falls, the employees you keep hiding behind lose their jobs. Sophie loses her grandfather's money. Emily loses the house she thinks she can afford. We all lose because you cannot let one sentence go. One sentence did not create a second billing system. You approved independent handling. I approved serving clients, not redirecting their money." Tyler's nostrils flared. "Stop the audit. Restore the cards. I will correct the invoices, and I will tell the court Sunday got out of hand. And Sophie? I can make room for visits." He said it like a scheduling favor. "Sophie is not currency," I told him. "You always come back when the bill reaches you," Tyler said. "This one has not arrived yet." He walked away before I answered. Naomi met me inside with the access logs already open. Tyler's former credentials had tried to reach the device review portal twice that afternoon. "Lock every recovery route," I said. "Preserve the attempts. I do not meet with him alone again." She nodded toward a folder on my desk. The technology service completed the custody file comparison. The report showed the draft recovered from Tyler's company phone. Version history confirmed the name had not been changed after creation. Its body matched the court filing almost word for word. One paragraph stopped me. It described a future Father's Day confrontation in which I would cut Tyler's access to a vehicle, company cards, and my home after being challenged in front of family. That paragraph had been written 4 days before the toast. Naomi and I spread every verified date across the conference table. Pickup settings changed, prepaid phones purchased, tracker activated, Emily's packed bag discovered, custody draft created, 2 cameras positioned, clip cut, official motion filed, visits with Sophie offered in exchange for cards and a vehicle. Each item had its own source. Each source had a custodian, timestamp, or original record. Individually, Tyler could call them mistakes. Together, they formed a sentence he had written before I ever said, "Wish granted." The toast had not caused the filing. The filing had needed the toast. Emily stopped me outside the hearing room before I could reach for the door. "Today is not about you proving Tyler wrong," she said. The courthouse hallway smelled of copier toner, damp wool, and burnt coffee from a vending machine near the elevators. Shoes squeaked across the polished floor. Somewhere behind the wall, a clerk called names in a flat voice that made every family sound like a file number. "I know," I said. Emily held a narrow binder against her chest. "Do you? I am here to explain what I saw, what belongs to the company, and how the records were preserved. You decide what gets presented about Sophie and your marriage." Her grip loosened by a fraction. "And you do not answer for me," she said. "I will not." Tyler sat across the hall with his coat open and one ankle resting on his knee. He looked rested, prepared. When our eyes met, he gave me the small smile he used before difficult client meetings. The one meant to suggest the decision had already been made. Inside, Sophie's name appeared on the first page of the temporary custody matter. She was not in the room. That helped. Tyler spoke first. His voice stayed measured as he described Father's Day. According to him, he had tried to tell the truth about years of control. I retaliated by shutting off his cards, taking his vehicle, and locking him out of a home where family gatherings had always made him welcome. Emily, he said, had already been influenced by me and had left with Sophie under my protection. I was trying to keep my daughter from being used in a financial power struggle, Tyler said. He never raised his voice. That was the point. The clipped video played from a small speaker. My words came out thin and hard. Wish granted. Then the truck. The red keypad. My statement that the cards, vehicle, and house belonged to me. Tyler watched the screen instead of watching me. When the video ended, he added 3 details. The tracker was part of an anti-theft plan. The custody document had been created after dinner, and I had known Emily intended to leave. Each statement sounded reasonable alone. Emily opened her binder. Her first exhibit was not the tracker or the video. It was a receipt for a furnished apartment, issued before Father's Day. Next came a message she had sent to herself with a list of items for Sophie's purple backpack. Clothing, inhaler, school tablet, insurance copies, birth certificate copies, cash. Tyler leaned toward the table. Planning to take a child does not make it lawful. Emily did not look at him. It shows Mr. Lawson did not cause my decision on Sunday, she said. He did not know. The next pages came from Sophie's summer program. Emily had requested them as a parent. The records showed that Tyler had changed the authorized pickup list and notification settings before the dinner. Emily remained listed as Sophie's mother, but my name had been removed and Tyler had made himself the first contact. Tyler's mouth tightened. I was correcting confusion, he said. Emily missed messages. The portal audit identified the same device Tyler used for work, and its timestamp matched the SUV's recorded stop at the commercial mailbox. A chair leg scraped behind me. Emily also submitted the trust summary. It showed that an independent corporate trustee controlled Sophie's fund. Neither Emily nor I could withdraw the money, cancel the trust, or tie a distribution to Access. Tyler had called the fund proof that I was buying influence. The document showed I had placed the money where it could help Sophie without giving me a key to Emily's decisions. One question had already changed shape. The packed backpack no longer looked like proof that Emily and I had planned anything together. It showed that Tyler had found a plan already moving and had started arranging the story around it. When I was called, the tabletop felt cold beneath my fingertips. I gave my name, my position, and the limits of what I knew. The cards were company cards. The SUV was a fleet vehicle. Tyler had signed policies covering company devices, vehicle tracking, and preservation of business records. My house had never been his legal residence. He had used a guest code. Did you suspend those items because of what your son said at dinner? Tyler asked. I activated decisions already prepared because customer payments and company property were under review. You chose the moment. Yes. After I embarrassed you. After you confirmed that a private conversation was not going to happen. He turned toward the screen. And you want the court to believe that was business. I want the court to look at the records. The first photograph showed the bookcase phone facing my chair. The second showed Tyler's personal phone braced against the water pitcher from another angle. I took those photographs after the guests left, I said. They show placement, not editing. Then came the original company phone file. The preservation report identified the device, sealed transfer, file hash, and creation time. I explained that Naomi had recorded the handoff and that the contracted technology service had created the forensic copy. I had not opened the phone myself. The uncut video started earlier than the public clip. Tyler entered the frame, adjusted the bookcase phone, shifted my chair, and checked the second camera. His voice came from near the pitcher. He will not take that sentence sitting down. A guest asked which sentence. Tyler answered, the one he thinks I owe him. The room on the recording filled with ordinary dinner sounds. Plates, ice, Sophie saying she had never asked for a speech to be filmed. Then Tyler gave the toast. The video continued after my reply. It showed him following me into the hall, telling me to put my hands on him, and checking the camera when I stepped back. Nobody spoke while it played. The scene photographs in the original file had done different jobs. One showed preparation in the room, the other showed what had been removed. Tyler folded his hands. "It was a family joke that went badly," he said. Emily placed the tracker photographs beside the company receipt. She explained where she had found the device, how she had photographed it in place, and when she removed it. Her phone's safety alert carried the same identifier. My part was narrower. The serial number matched a tracker purchased on Tyler's company card. Our fleet inventory did not list it. The forensic report from his work phone showed the application installation, activation email, and recovery message tied to the prepaid number. "We do not have the provider's location history," I said. "I did not request it." Tyler shifted in his chair. "It was for theft prevention," he said. "Why was it not registered with the fleet?" Emily asked. His answer came too quickly. "Because it was temporary." "Why was it attached to my car?" "I was protecting family property." The words stayed in the room longer than he intended. The last comparison involved the custody file. Tyler had said the draft came after dinner. The work phone image showed otherwise. Version history confirmed the file had been created 4 days before Father's Day and had not been renamed later. Its wording matched the filed motion, almost line for line. One paragraph described a future confrontation in which I would remove Tyler's vehicle, cards, and access to my home after being challenged in front of relatives. The paragraph existed before the challenge. Tyler stared at the copy as if the words had moved while he was not looking. "That was a planning template," he said. "A template for what?" Emily asked. He looked at her then. Really looked. "For what Dean always does." There it was again. Control disguised as prediction. The temporary decision did not settle the marriage, the audit, or every future visit. Emily was given temporary residential custody. Tyler's contact with Sophie would be supervised while the matter was evaluated. The restriction involving me ended, but any contact between Sophie and me remained Emily's decision. I did not win the right to see my granddaughter. That mattered. Outside the hearing room, Tyler caught up near the elevators. "Stop the audit," he said. Emily kept walking. I stayed where I was. Tyler lowered his voice. "I will agree to every temporary term she wants. I will stop fighting the schedule. You shut down the company review, and this family gets quiet. You are offering Sophie for an audit. I am offering an end." The elevator doors opened behind him with a soft bell. For years, I had paid for endings exactly like that. This time, I let the doors close. The elevator doors closed between Tyler and me, leaving his offer hanging in the courthouse hallway. The bell sounded again as the car descended. Emily stood near the exit, with her binder pressed against her side. She had heard enough to know what he meant, but she did not ask what I planned to do. "That is between you and your company," she said. "No," I answered. "It is between Tyler and what he did." Emily studied my face, then adjusted the strap of her purse. "Do not make Sophie the reason." "I won't." Outside, the courthouse steps held the noon heat. Car tires whispered over the street, and a bus exhaled at the corner. Tyler came through another set of doors before we reached the crosswalk. "Dad." I stopped, but Emily kept walking. Tyler approached with his hands open, as though he were returning something fragile. "You heard the temporary decision. Emily got what she wanted. You got the restriction lifted. There is nothing left to prove. The customers are still missing money. They will be paid." "By whom?" His jaw shifted. "The side company has assets. Then the audit will identify them. You want to humiliate me at work now too. This is not about dinner. It became about dinner the second you sent that truck." A delivery van rattled over a patch in the road. Tyler waited for me to fill the silence the way I always had, with a solution that left him clean. I did not. "The review continues," I said. His hands dropped. "Then when the company falls, remember you chose strangers over your son. The employees are not strangers. Neither are the customers whose money was redirected." Tyler's voice hardened. "You always said family comes first." I used that sentence to excuse too much. He stared at me for one long second, then walked away without saying goodbye. By the middle of July, Naomi had replaced the conference room wall calendar with a payment map. Each colored note represented a customer, an altered invoice, a routing number, or a confirmed transfer. The air smelled of dry erase ink and coffee that had cooked too long on the burner. The final amount diverted over 10 months came to $286,000. $94,000 remained traceable in accounts and equipment connected to Lawson Property Services. The rest had moved through withdrawals, personal payments, storage fees, prepaid devices, and expenses Tyler had labeled as customer development. Naomi laid the cash report beside the customer list. "We can reimburse everyone now," she said, "but the reserve takes a serious hit." "How serious?" "$72,000 from operations, then the bridge you authorized. Payroll stays protected, but the new service truck is gone, and the fall expansion is dead." I opened my brokerage account. The transfer to Sophie's trust had already removed $180,000. Another $120,000 waited under the bridge authorization. $300,000. The amount represented years of mornings before sunrise, emergency calls during dinner, and vacations Laura and I postponed because the company needed another truck or another crew. I approved the bridge. The confirmation tone was soft, almost polite. Naomi watched the balance change. "You will not retire next spring." "No. You may not retire the year after that." "I know." Before the envelopes left, I gathered the crews beside the service board. Nobody crossed their arms or looked away this time. They simply waited. "The company will repay every verified loss," I said. "My approvals are part of the review. Until it closes, I do not have sole authority over Tyler's former accounts." A dispatcher asked whether their paychecks were safe. Yes. The answer cost me the bridge I had just signed, but it was true. Another employee asked whether Tyler had stolen from them. "We know customer money was redirected," I said. "We will not claim more than the records show." The room remained quiet until a mower mechanic near the back nodded once. It was not forgiveness. It was enough for the crews to return to work. The first refund checks went out that afternoon. Heavy paper slid through the printer while envelopes stacked beside the postage machine. I signed apology letters without mentioning Tyler, Father's Day, or family. Each letter named the invoice, the amount, and the control failure. No excuses. A week later, we called Tyler into the office for the employment decision. Naomi sat beside me with the complete record. His former access card no longer opened the interior doors, so a receptionist escorted him to the conference room. Tyler wore a navy suit and carried no papers. "You already decided," he said as he sat down. "The records decided what conduct we can support," I replied. Naomi read the findings in her steady work voice. Customer payments had been redirected. Company devices had been used for unregistered tracking equipment. Fleet Property had supported a separate business. Billing templates and client data had been copied. Tagged tools remained unreturned. Tyler leaned back. "And Dean's approvals?" "My approvals are in the report," I said. "So are the controls placed on me. You keep your company. I keep responsibility for repairing it." He looked toward Naomi. "Do I get severance?" "No," she said. "The termination is for cause." "My clients?" "They belong to Lawson Property Care." Tyler turned to me. "You built my whole career here, and now you are erasing it because I said one honest thing at dinner. The toast is not listed in the findings." His chair pushed back with a sharp scrape. For the first time, he had no family argument that could change a business record. The storage unit remained closed until the civil settlement process produced a supervised inventory in September. I did not go inside. Naomi attended for the company and returned with photographs, tag sheets, and a signed property list. 3 missing power tools were recovered, along with boxed customer files and unused equipment purchased through the shadow company. A separate container held school copies, insurance papers, and several of Sophie's belongings that Emily had reported missing. I looked at the photograph of her yellow raincoat folded beneath a stack of invoices. Tyler had stored a child's coat beside the paperwork of a business he claimed was harmless. The traceable accounts and recovered property were applied toward repayment. The remaining balance became a civil obligation Tyler would pay over time. No mansion disappeared. No hidden fortune appeared. He kept his personal car, his clothes, and whatever money could not be tied to the diverted payments. What he lost was access. Access to the company. Access to its customers. Access to the accounts he had treated like extensions of himself. The custody matter moved more slowly. Emily remained Sophie's temporary residential parent. Tyler's visits stayed supervised, while evaluations and court requirements continued. I provided records only when asked, and never called the school for updates. Some evenings, my phone rested beside my plate while I ate alone. The blue craft box sat on the shelf in my office, its loose brass latch still unfixed. I could have repaired it in 5 minutes. I left it alone. In October, the financial records moved beyond the civil review. There was no knock at Tyler's door, and no dramatic arrest in a crowded room. Investigators requested documents, compared the payment trail, and asked questions through the proper process. I signed certifications for company records and went back to work. By December, Tyler accepted a negotiated resolution. Restitution remained mandatory. Strict community control limited his choices, and the sentence included a short period of confinement that would begin after the holidays. His supervised contact with Sophie did not vanish, but any expansion depended on what he did over time. Naomi placed the notice on my desk. "You could say this is over," she said. I read the page once. "It is not over for Sophie." "No." Or Emily. "No." Or Tyler. Naomi picked up the empty coffee cup beside my hand. "Then perhaps it is finished enough for today." That evening, a message arrived through the channel Emily and I still used. "Sophie's winter program is Friday at 7. You may attend." I read it twice before answering. "Where should I sit?" The reply came several minutes later. "Back row. No private meeting before the program. Let her decide what happens afterward." I typed, "Understood." Then another message appeared. "Sophie knows you will be there. Please do not come forward until she chooses." The same electronic lock that had kept me outside in June gave one clean beep when Emily opened the school door in December. I did not touch the handle. Warm air rolled into the entryway, carrying floor wax, wet coats, and hot chocolate from somewhere beyond the lobby. Children's voices bounced off the cinder block walls. A cart squeaked past with folding chairs stacked on it. Emily held out a paper ticket. "Back row," she said. I remember. No private conversation before the program. I remember that too. Her eyes stayed on mine for another second, checking whether the old Dean Lawson had come dressed as the new one. Then, she stepped aside. 6 months earlier, I had stood on the other side of that glass with Sophie's craft box against my ribs, and my name removed from the pickup list. This time, the door opened because Emily had invited me, not because I owned the building, knew someone, or wrote a check. I entered as a guest. Before I reached the auditorium, my phone vibrated inside my coat. "Dad, I need one call." Tyler had not used that word since Father's Day. Another message appeared. "A company may hire me after confinement. Tell them I left Lawson Property Care because of family restructuring. That is all I need." The request was smaller than a vehicle, a credit card, or $286,000. That made it harder. A father could tell himself he was not hiding theft. He was only smoothing a sentence, giving his son a chance, keeping one bad season from swallowing the rest of his life. I had used those words before. Families moved around me while I typed. "I will confirm your dates of employment and the work you performed. I will not change the reason your employment ended." The reply came at once. "Then you really granted it." Emily waited near the auditorium doors. "Everything all right?" she asked. "Tyler wants me to describe his termination as family restructuring." "What did you say?" "The truth." Emily nodded once and pointed toward the last row. The auditorium was half full. Folding seats clicked beneath winter coats, while parents called softly to children near the stage. I sat at the aisle end of the back row and kept my coat on my lap. My phone vibrated again. Tyler was calling. I watched his name fill the screen, then answered. "I have 2 minutes," I said. His voice sounded smaller than it had in the courthouse hallway, but the old pressure remained beneath it. You cannot give me one clean reference? I can give an accurate one. The charges are resolved. I am paying restitution. I am doing what they asked. You should tell the employer that. They will hear fraud and stop listening. That is their decision. A breath scraped across his microphone. You always cared more about being right than about me. The stage curtain shifted as children moved behind it. I lowered my voice. I am still your father, Tyler. Does not sound like it. Being your father does not make me your credit card, your vehicle, your signature, your excuse, or the person who changes records after you damage them. So, that is all I am now? Damage? No. The word came out sharper than I intended. You are my son. What happens next depends on what you do when I stop standing between you and the result. Tyler gave a dry laugh. You have a speech for everything. This is a boundary. He was quiet. For a moment, I thought he might say something different. Instead, Tyler said, Tell Sophie I am trying. You tell her during your visits. The line went dead. I placed the phone on silent as the lights dimmed. A piano began with 3 uncertain notes. Children shuffled onto the stage wearing white shirts and paper stars pinned to dark sweaters. Sophie stood in the second row, her hair pulled back by a silver ribbon. Her eyes moved across the front seats, then the middle. Every part of me wanted to stand, so she would not have to search. I stayed seated. Sophie looked toward Emily near the front aisle. Her mother waited until Sophie glanced at her again, then pointed toward the back. My granddaughter found me. She did not wave or call my name. Her chin lifted a fraction, just enough to tell me she had seen me. I answered with the same small movement. Then Sophie faced the audience and sang. Her voice disappeared inside the group at first. By the second song, I could pick it out whenever the children reached the higher notes. Thin, clear, stubborn. I did not record it. Parents raised phones around me, their screens shining in the dark, but I kept both hands folded over my coat. Tyler had turned cameras into traps. That did not make every camera wrong. Still, that night, I wanted no proof beyond being there. When the final song ended, applause filled the room. Folding chairs groaned as people stood. I remained in the back while families crowded the aisles. Emily reached me first. She knows you waited, she said. I told you I would. Yes. That one word carried more weight than thanks. Sophie came through the crowd, holding the blue craft box. The plastic corners were scuffed. Tape crossed one cracked side. She stopped several feet away, close enough for me to see silver paint near her wrist. Hi, Grandpa, Sophie said. Hi, sweetheart. Mom said you could come. She invited me. Why did you not come before? The question moved straight through every explanation adults had built around her. I crouched, but did not reach for her. There were rules while the grown-ups worked out how to keep things safe, I said. I also had to learn not to decide for everybody just because I thought I could fix something. Did Dad make the rules? Some were made because of choices your dad made. Some were made because of choices I made. None were your fault. Sophie looked down at the box. The lock sticks. The small brass latch sat crooked along the front edge. I remembered promising to repair it after Father's Day dinner. She held the box toward me. Can you fix it? I took it with both hands. The plastic was cool and rough beneath my palms. Something inside tapped against the lid. Yes, I said. Then I corrected myself. I can try. Sophie considered that answer and stepped closer. Her arms went around my shoulders for only a moment. No running leap, no crying crowd, just the warm pressure of her coat against my cheek and the smell of school soap in her hair. When she released me, I did not pull her back. Emily checked the time. Sophie has school tomorrow. I will bring the box back when you say. Saturday afternoon, Emily said. We will meet at the library, the same parking lot where she had handed me the tracker. All right. We walked toward the exit together, but I stayed half a step behind. At the glass doors, Emily spoke without looking back. Tyler completed the first part of his required program. His next supervised visit is Sunday. My grip tightened around the craft box before I loosened it. Are the safety conditions still in place? I asked. Yes. Is Sophie comfortable going? She wants to see him. I nodded. Then I will not interfere. Emily turned. I did not tell you because I needed permission. I know. I told you because this family cannot keep surviving on hidden decisions. The lock released with a soft click. Cold air entered the lobby, carrying the clean smell of snow. Outside, Sophie took her mother's hand. I carried the little blue box. I did not walk ahead to clear their path. I did not stay behind hoping they would ask me to lead. We crossed the parking lot together until our cars waited in different rows. Tyler still had a visit on Sunday. He still had restitution to pay, rules to follow, and years of choices no reference call could erase. For the first time, his future with Sophie would depend on what he did, without my card, my car, my money, or my name shielding him. The latch pressed into my palm. A small repair, that was enough for now. Sometimes a small repair is enough for one day. Not because the damage was small, but because real change does not happen when you force every broken relationship back into place. It begins when you stop pretending that love gives you the right to control the outcome. You may believe you are protecting someone when you pay their debts, replace what they destroyed, excuse their lies, or give them another job after they lose the last one. Your intentions may be generous. The effect can still be harmful. When you remove every consequence, you do not erase the behavior. You make it easier to repeat. The person you rescue learns that apologies are cheaper than change, while everyone around them pays the hidden cost. That does not mean you should abandon someone the first time they fail. It means your help needs limits. A boundary is not revenge because someone dislikes it. Refusing to provide another credit card, vehicle, false reference, or cover story is not cruelty. Sometimes, it is the first honest thing you have done for them. You also have to examine your own part without taking responsibility for another adult's choices. You do not create someone else's fraud, surveillance, or manipulation simply because you once rescued them. Those remain their decisions. But when you repeatedly grant special treatment and erase consequences, you can teach that person to expect another cleanup. Admitting your part does not excuse theirs. It stops you from repeating the same mistake. Accountability becomes real when it costs you something. It is easy to speak about principles when you keep your money, reputation, access, and authority. You may have to risk the company you built, delay retirement, admit your failures to employees, and accept distance from a grandchild you love. More importantly, you may need to place financial support beyond your own control. Then you can help a child without purchasing influence over the parent's decisions. That distinction matters. Financial help should not become a key that opens another person's home, schedule, or private choices. Protection should create safety, not a new form of dependence. When someone has already escaped one controlling relationship, they should not be required to surrender their freedom to the person offering assistance. Forgiveness is not owed because consequences have begun. When someone has been harmed, you must allow that person to keep a safe distance. A child must be allowed to choose when to approach. The person who caused the harm may deserve a path to rebuild the relationship, but that person is not entitled to immediate trust. Change has to be shown through repeated actions, not demanded through family ties. You cannot repair another person's character for them. You can tell the truth. You can preserve evidence. You can stop paying for deception. You can protect a child without using that child as punishment. Then you have to step back and let each person face what their choices created. Have you ever helped a family member so many times that your help began protecting the problem instead of the person? Where would you draw the line between supporting someone you love and shielding them from consequences? And if telling the truth could cost you money, reputation, or access to someone precious, would you still tell it?